Russell Westbrook, affectionately known as West Brick, the disgruntled guard of the Lakers. Did you hear what he had to say on his way out? Maybe not. So there were exit news conferences, one of my favorite parts of the NBA calendar. I don't know about you. Man, is this exciting, the exit news conference. So the unhappy, pouty-faced Laker guard, Russell Westbrook, who was an embarrassment on the court this year, and we enjoyed every second of it, he did not hold back. He gave an evaluation of a season that is near the very top in suckage, as the Lakers have become the laughingstock of the NBA the last 9 years. They missed the playoffs 7 of 9 times. 7 of 9. But let's just focus on this past year. Now, Westbrook had a lot to say. He told reporters that he felt like he never had a fair chance on the basketball front once he arrived in L.A. Oh, boo-hoo-hoo. He was very upset about made-up stories, and he had to fight against that. Westbrook has a player option worth $47 million for next season, which I'm told will buy him a couple of tanks of gas in California if he chooses to pick up that option. So Westbrook would be a fool, based on his recent play, to not pick up that option. But there have been fools before, and there will be fools again, so we'll find out later. It can be assumed that you wouldn't turn down that amount of money. He claimed he hasn't thought about that. Now, just to prove I'm not making this stuff up, we have a couple of clips that have been handpicked of Russell Westbrook and his ranting and raving. And as Warner Wolf would say, let's go to the audio tape. Here's Westbrook saying, it's unfair. It's unfair the way that he has been treated in La La Land.
So when I first got here, and just being, a person that, unfortunately, that people create narratives of me and who I am, and what I do and what I believe in that are, just not true. I'm always having to prove myself again in the year after year after year, which is to me just unfair, and there's really no reason I have to do that. So when I first got here, I just felt that I never was given a fair chance, just to be who I needed to be able to help this team.
There's a pouty athlete on aisle 5. We need to clean up on aisle 5. We have a pouty athlete. But wait, there's more. Here's Russell Westbrook, who claimed that he spent much of this past NBA season fighting the good fight, and he was trying to fight against fake news.
A lot of you guys, not here, but who may be here, may have wrote or put out sources may say, or the famous source of all the different stories that came out about myself, and whether it's between me and the staff, me and Frank, me and the fans. There's just so many made-up stories that are not true. It's just always having to fight against that constantly. It's not, that's a part of not giving a fair chance. It's like, okay, now I got to fight against this made-up story.
All right, so that just gave you a sense of where this was going. So we have a lot to pick apart and scrutinize, and I would like to personally thank Westbrook for this, because this is just a ready-made piece of sports talk radio gold. Just add water, you're good to go. So let us discuss the question. Russell Westbrook saying that he didn't get a fair chance and annoyed with the made-up stories. Is that inbounds or out of bounds? Not only is that out of bounds, it's out of the arena. It's out of the arena, okay? Now, I've got infomercial, Lob City, and hot potato. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make a pouty party is what we're going to make, because Russell needs a pouty party. He needs that. All right, so listen, Russell Westbrook, you can say what you want about the guy. He was as advertised. And you have to be gullible to buy the spin. Westbrook wanted to play in L.A. He desperately wanted to play for a team in L.A. He was willing to go to the Clippers or the Lakers. Either one. The Clippers, the people's team, said they weren't interested. So he found a sucker in the purple and gold and was able to convince his pal LeBron James to acquire him. But when you take a couple of steps back and look at Russell Westbrook, he lived up to the infomercial. Read the infomercials as seen on TV. No false advertising. The scouting report on Russell Westbrook: can't shoot. Check. Makes bonehead turnovers. Check. Doesn't play defense. Check, check, check. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. It was as advertised, just like in the commercial. The infomercial said that's who you were going to get. That's exactly who you got. The reason so many of us were mocking and pointing our finger and going like Nelson from The Simpsons, ha ha, because we figured this would be the guy that would show up. And sure enough, that was the guy that showed up. And it made for one of the most enjoyable seasons for me in Laker history. I really enjoyed this year. I thought it was great from beginning to end. The high expectations. LeBron James saying, keep that energy going. Boy, that was wonderful as well. Now, part B of this. What were these made-up stories about Russell Westbrook? Now, I work in media, kind of. I work in radio, overnight radio, which is the ugly redheaded stepchild of radio. But this is fake news by Russell Westbrook. He's fighting fake news with fake news. And what's my reasoning behind that? Westbrook was asked point blank, name the fake stories. He was given a platform. He likes to talk about his platform. He was given a platform to make his case, to call out the people that did injustice to him. And instead, Russ turned to radio silence, which you're never supposed to have on radio. Radio silence. He declined to give any examples. He just did the, like you guys know. You know what's going on. And it's a sign that Westbrook's just a small town guy. He played, grew up in LA and all that, but this is a guy that's more accepted in a place like Oklahoma City, where they're not going to criticize. Now, LA does not have a reputation for being a bulldog media, but there are people obsessed with the Lakers beyond reasonable judgment, and so there is a lot of scrutiny there. And Westbrook would much rather play in the Dust Bowl or somewhere like that, where you don't have anybody putting this stuff out there. And to be fair, with our friends in Oklahoma City, there were some run-ins that he had, as I recall, when he played for the Thunder. Just not as many. It's not as many. Now, it's clear to me that he's got a beef with his former head coach. Westbrook made several comments directing the laser pointer right at Frank Vogel, right there, right at Vogel. And he claimed he's not sure what the issue was, between him and the coach, and he's not sure why. He couldn't really give you an answer, blah, blah, blah. He said it's never connected. And he pointed the finger at Vogel, said he's the one that's going to have to answer that. And he said, but I never, Westbrook said, from the get-go was feeling like I was having to try to prove myself to him and my capabilities, what I've been able to do in the game. It's unfortunate. It's out of my hands. There you go. Westbrook is upset that his career right now has reached gridlock. It's rush hour gridlock. And so he has now changed strategy as he sees how this is going here, Westbrook. And so he's going with the scorched earth policy, looking to destroy anything that might be useful in the future with the Lakers. It's the new Lob City, as he lobs Molotov cocktails, metaphorically, around the facility. Burn, baby, burn. Burn, baby, burn. All right, last word here. So what does the future hold for Russell Westbrook? What does it hold? Well, you look at the crystal ball, the MALLER crystal ball, and Westbrook will get back to his normal routine. He is a basketball gypsy king, is what he is, not the boxing gypsy king. He's the basketball version of the gypsy king. The hot potato that will be tossed on to the next. Now, there's a very popular burger chain based in Southern California called In-N-Out. They have the 2x2. You can get the 3x3, the 4x4. In Russ's case, he's on the cusp of being the 5x5, as in playing for 5 teams in 5 years. He's about to have that happen. Oklahoma City, check. Houston, check. Washington, check. The Lakers, check. Who's next? We will spin the wheel of speculation as he will play out his career in obscurity here, getting back to his core being. Step in. Big money, big money, big money, big money, and stop. No whammy. All right, Westbrook. It says here that on the wheel of speculation, he goes off to another wasteland in the boondocks of the NBA. The wheel of speculation has Charlotte, Sacramento, Indiana, or back to OKC. A 4-pack for Westbrook's next team. The Hornets, the Kings, the Pacers, or the Thunder. And it's fair to say, based on his recent performance, he will not be playing for a team that has title aspirations for the rest of his career, at least not as a key rotational player. Now, keep in mind, the Lakers were never really that team. They were a fake, faux contender. But Westbrook, you got to give him credit because this guy is wallowing in victimhood. Like the whole world's out to get him. Nobody has to prove themselves in life. What a load of bullcrap. I don't know any job where you don't have to prove yourself, whether you're cleaning toilets, driving a truck. Look at my dumb job. I come in here, I talk about every day. I got to prove myself. I got to show that I know what I'm doing here. I'm still trying. But the point is, that's just life. It's no different. Why should it be different for Westbrook? Why should it be any different for Russell Westbrook? It's unfair. I got to prove myself. That's how it works. Your resume tells you what your employer tells you what you have done, right? It doesn't tell you what you're going to do. And so Westbrook's complaining and playing the victim card. Does that play with anyone? Is there anyone listening? I'm talking to you. Is there anyone who can hear my voice right now and think, boy, that makes a lot of sense to me? That makes a lot of sense. Because it makes no sense to me. Like, whatever your job is, you are constantly having to prove something. That's just part of the human condition. But no, it's not fair. It's not fair for Russell Westbrook.